Since ancient times, the road has served as a link between cultures. Most roads today are laid down along very old pathways created by people who needed contact with other people for trading or just plain mutual support. This road connects the village of Iroquois with the neighboring market town of Mbayakro. It also connects Iroquois with the big cities such as Abidjan and Baoul'e. The trucks from those cities can come here and collect the cocoa and the coffee grown by the people, thereby tying them into the economy of the Ivory Coast. The road actually has a life of its own. People going to market, meeting people coming from market, all create the network of experiences that only a road can provide.
This is the old road at Iroquois. It began as only a path which was hacked out with machetes and used by people and animals alike until it was finally established as a hard-packed dirt road. The only problem was the river. The road ended at the river Nzi. Later, when the government put in a paved road and built a bridge across the river, the people of Iroquois could travel uninterrupted to the next village and beyond. This bridge also solved the problem of the rainy season, when the Nzi would rage against its banks, making a crossing by any means a dangerous undertaking. Today, the people can go to market at any time of year. However, the river has always been a mixed blessing for the Baoul'e. Even before the road, the river served as a channel of communication. Kwakwame's ancestors traveled in canoes up and down this river. In old times, trading posts were developed on the rivers in West Africa, and boats and canoes were the main sources of transport. Another part of the mixed blessing provided by the Nzi is the rich soil it deposits along the bank in flood stage. Buying and selling firewood and yams is not the only reason the Baoul'e go to the market at Mbayakro. Getting the latest news, seeing the latest imports from France, getting a message to a friend or relative are equally important reasons for going to market. Since there are no telephones, radios, or television sets in Iroquois, the market ties Iroquois people to Baoul'e people from many other different villages. Shopkeepers in the market get news from the outside world on their radios and from the truck drivers who bring in their supplies. Many supplies, as well as newspapers and magazines, have to be flown in to the Tarahumara of Mexico. Small aircraft bring medicine and other crucial supplies to the Tarahumara settlements high in the Sierra Madre Mountains. It is almost impossible to maintain roads in and out of the canyons and high valleys where the Tarahumara live. The one road in Caborchi is little more than a cowpath. As it washes out during the rainy season, the only way into Caborchi is by foot. This makes communication very difficult. The Mexican government has maintained a gravel road on the canyon rim at Caborchi. During the dry season, trucks can bring in supplies and transport the Tarahumara to and from the nearest town, which is about a 2-hour drive. Roads such as these bring the Mexican culture closer and closer to the Tarahumara, making it more and more difficult for the Tarahumara to reject Mexican culture. Most Mexicans today are a mixture of Spanish and Indian blood and refer to themselves as mestizos. The Tarahumara have kept themselves separate. They fear that the mestizos want to take their land away from them because it has happened in the past. Personal communication among the Tarahumara means getting together for a beer party, a tesquinada. The normally shy and standoffish Tarahumara loosen up with Tesguino. After a few drinks, they relax, laugh, exchange gossip and the latest news from across the valley. There are no television sets or telephones in Caborici, and radio programs in Caborici are in Spanish. Most Tarahumara don't understand enough Spanish to enjoy radio, so electronic communication is virtually non-existent. News of the outside world is of little interest to the Tarahumara. News of the outside world is all essential to the Japanese. After all, to the Japanese, the world is a supermarket where they must buy raw materials and sell their manufactured products. Communication within Japan was difficult until bridges were built to connect the islands. Today, the situation of roads on top of roads and railroads over and under those, the Japanese have created a complex maze of concrete and steel. The Japanese pioneered the development of the high-speed train. It's called the bullet train. The outside world is brought into the home via television. The Nakayamas need not leave their house to get the latest Japanese or world news. Favorite entertainment TV programs include quiz shows, talent shows, samurai sagas, and soap operas. The Nakayamas stay warm while they watch TV with a kotatsu, a low-wattage infrared bulb under the table. That makes it hard to leave the TV set on a cold night. If Hiroaki wants to see a live television production, he can go to the Asahi Broadcasting Company and its studios in Osaka. Today, Hiroaki and his friend Atsushi went to the studio to see a live local talent show put on as a benefit for charity. Members from the audience paid to perform with the professional orchestra. The master of ceremonies gave instructions during commercial pauses. Hiroaki and Atsushi were amused by the noise and confusion of a live television production. The uninhibited amateur singers used big cue cards to help them remember their lyrics. Knowing that at that moment they were singing into millions of homes in Osaka made them nervous. At one point, the master of ceremonies noticed our film camera in the audience. He had his TV cameras turned on us, and for a moment we too went out into millions of homes in Osaka, as the MC announced that an American film crew was filming this production to take back to the United States and Canada. Japanese television is very similar to American television, and commercial advertisers have learned that it pays to use TV. In 1980, advertisers spent 2,278.3 billion yen, or about $9 billion, to communicate messages to the people of Japan. The telephone, an invention which revolutionized long-distance communication, is essential to Mr. Nakayama in his accounting business, since his company is spread over 6 floors in 2 separate buildings. With his computer, Dr. Yuasa is linked to the big computer at his hospital. If he needs to work at home, Dr. Yuasa can call up information from the hospital. Right now, he needs some figures on the outpatients at the hospital. The computer can give him the answers he needs in the form of a bar graph or a line graph. If he needs to take this information with him to a conference, the computer can duplicate the information on the screen by printing it on paper.
Since Japan is a modern commercial trading nation, knowledge of other cultures is essential. Japanese school students study the peoples of the Americas, Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, and other island nations. And here at the National Museum of Ethnology in Osaka, visitors can see information programs on hundreds of different cultures. The programs are selected from a catalog and then dialed up from a central computer. This viewing area is called a videotheque.
The videotheque is activated by a card, which is designed for the slot on the console. The videotape programs are cataloged and number-coded. Once the viewers have selected a program to watch, the catalog number of that program is punched in on the console. Next, the play button is pushed. The audio for the video program comes through the speakers placed at head height and near the ear. Acoustically, the carols are designed to confine the sound to a small space, not interfering with the viewers in the next carol. There are thousands of hours of information about people all around the world in both Japanese and English language. These viewers have chosen a program about ancient and traditional crafts in France. They will learn how the early French made bread ovens and how they baked their bread. Entire school groups use these videotheques to enhance what they're learning in classes at school. As the old roads proved, communication can be purely physical. This train is carrying people from one place to another. During the last century, some people believed that the train would not work because people were not built to move over the ground at more than 15 miles per hour. Today, we not only travel in trains, boats, and cars, but in airplanes, communicating physically from place to place, and at the same time communicating by radio to other places. There is no limit to our abilities to invent, and in the field of communications, we have been our most inventive.
Say again, numbers?